Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Godfather Chronicles podcast. My name is Miguel Garcia, and I am your host. Today, on episode 6, we're going to go back to the basics. When I say go back to the basics, I mean we got to make ourselves right first before we try to go along and do some big things like a new business or embark in a new opportunity or relationship or anything like that. I think that the big game changer for me was when I kind of resetted my life. So today we're going to talk about how to heal your wounds and be whole again by ditching the baggage that you've been carrying for so long. Had a great question from a person that doesn't want me to mention them, and he was like, how do I start over? Great question. I think that a lot of us have gone through a period in our lives where we feel like we lost our way, like we're confused. We might be in a toxic relationship. We might be in a job that we don't want or don't like or hate. And it just, sometimes it seems like you don't have any other way but to, burn it down or do something drastic. But it really doesn't have to be that way. It's not like we are broken 100%. It's just that we don't have our lives aren't broken, they're out of balance. And it's tempting to interpret that unhappiness as a signal that everything is wrong, but more often only a couple tweaks are needed to get back on track. And a lot of times those tweaks are major. It's just like, if you're in a cruise ship or whatever and you dial it 1% east, eventually it's going to be a major change. So I think that starting from looking at the man in the mirror and being brutally honest with you, I know I mentioned this before, but we are the cause of our happiness. We are the cause of our sadness. We are the cause of our success. We are it, my friends. It's upon us to be who we want to be. It's upon us to be happy and to make our lives. We really don't depend out of any other human other than God. But any other humans, if you're in a relationship, yes, you sort of depend on the other person, and that's why you have to fix yourself first and then work on the relationship. So anyway, I think that to start a new life, you have to get yourself right. You have to make yourself the main focus. That's not to say that you will become a selfish person, but it does mean that your attention will be on yourself and the things you need to get done in your life. There's a saying out there that you can't give what you don't have. It's funny to see folks on Instagram, they're like, oh, I'm a life coach. I'm like, I know you do. You're not a fucking life coach. Okay, you don't got your shit together. You got issues and you have not addressed those issues. So it just, it's crazy to see people like that, Again, you can't give what you don't have. If you really want to fix yourself, then eventually you'll have something to give. So I think that we could start. One of the things that helped me quite a bit one time, I was reading a book. I'm Catholic, so I was reading a Protestant book because some of these Protestant preachers have a really interesting perspective on things. And I was reading that a lot of our problems are because we're not in a state of grace. In a state of grace meaning that we don't have that friendship with God. And, I bring God again because we are mortals. And so we have certain talents that God has given us. But when you have God in your life, God enhances those talents by His supernatural grace. And when you don't have that connection, you're blocking all the graces, all the extra things that are going to make you from a mere normal human being to a very successful person. And so, we need to make ourselves whole again. We need to stop blaming other people. We need to let go of the grudges and pain and memories in the past. And when I was reading that book, I can't remember the book exactly, but he talked about that in order for you to clear that channel between you and God, you had to let go of the past. You had to let go of all the hurts, injustices, and everything that has hindered you now, that has not allowed you to grow because you're carrying that baggage. Can you imagine? It's like today's Veterans Day, and I remember when I was working with the military, these guys would carry a backpack. It was 80 pounds plus, all their gear, their rifle, the ammo, and you had to be 100, 110 pounds. And we're like that in life. We carry the baggage. The backpack that we carry is full of crap. It's full of sadness. It's full of sad memories, disappointments, betrayals, and all sorts of things. And we're carrying this stuff around. And so we need to unload that. And how do you do it? So the way, I'm a very passionate man. I believe in trust. I'm a very loyal person. And when I get betrayed, what I think I've been betrayed, I really go into a pretty bad spot. There's been a lot of hurt and in my past, people that I really trusted and really backstabbed me. It starts with very, very, very good friends of mine, family, business associates, and things like that. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that we carry that stuff with us, and we need to let it go. Our Lord says, "Forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us," and that is the key. So think about this. You ask God for forgiveness, but you don't forgive the people that have hurt you. So you're carrying this around. And since you're not willing to forgive, how can you ask God for forgiveness? I mean, in all fairness, do you think God is going to forgive you? No. You have to forgive first. When we go to confession, and I remember one time there was this guy, he was a big bully guy, and big dude too. And I was a coach of a softball team, and I hurt my back, and so I wasn't playing. I was just coaching the men's team from the factory that I worked at. And this guy was drinking, and he was getting belligerent, and I had my wife and my kids. And this guy kept swearing and going back and forth and intimidating everybody. And I just told him, "Hey, dude, shut the fuck up." And he looked at me like he was going to kill me. And I realized what I just said. And he came up to me at the end of the inning, and he goes, "What did you say?" And before he came to me, I slapped him. And he goes, "You touched my face." And he got on it. And I'm looking at this freaking monster coming towards me. And my wife, slow motion. I look over, my wife is there, my two daughters are there. And was just, only had two children at that time. And, they grabbed me, the other players grabbed me, grabbed him, put him away. And he kept just yelling at me like, wait till the game is over, I'm going to kill you. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? So then I went from what did I do to what am I going to do? So my little daughter comes over and she says, Daddy, is that man really going to kill you? And I'm like, no, he's not. And then she's like, well, he's saying that. And I'm like, no, he's not. So my wife comes over and she goes, I'm going home with the girls. And I said, no, you need to stay because I'm going to take care of this. And I want the girls to see me taking care of business so that I don't back down. But at the same time, my heart is pounding, man. And I'm going, shit, what am I going to do? So I figure, well, maybe I can't punch him because he's just too big and he's going to come for a bear hug or something like that. So I'll just kick him in the balls. So I focus on that one strategy. So anyway, long story short, the game ends and he comes over and he's like, I'm going to. And I went at him and kicked him twice. And he wouldn't go down, but he was like puzzled, like, wow, this guy is challenging me. And then, people jumped in. Then I saw in his eyes the fear. Like he was like, whoa. I never thought, Miguel stood up to me or whatever because, I never messed around. There were factory guys and I was in the office. And so there was always a distance. And so anyway, so when I saw that fear, I'm like, okay, I own you, motherfucker. You're mine. You are mine. So sure enough, man, the next day I show up to work and the guy's looking at me and they're in the coffee shop, in the break room. And I go up, I walk in there and the guy looks at me and I said, what the fuck you looking at, asshole? And he just looked away. He didn't say anything and people were like, ooh. So I'm like, okay, I own this bitch. She's mine. And so, walked away, whatever. And he kept sending messages with other people that he was going to bring his gang and kill me, whatever. So anyway, I went to confession at the end of the week and I told the priest, I said, look, this is what happened and this is what I did. And I said, I want to finish it. And the priest goes, no, you can't. And I said, why not? He goes, no, you have to forgive him. And I'm like, what? I can't forgive this guy. And the priest says, I would not give you absolution. You will stay in a state of mortal sin without receiving God's graces if you don't forgive him. And then he repeated the part of our Father where it says, forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespassed against us. And he told me, who are you not to forgive this guy? Who are you not to walk away from, trying to fight him and all that stuff? And so that was a really good lesson for me to learn because I did forgive him. And then after that, I just ignored him and he went away. So what we need to do is we need to look at the past, and the past is in the past. We can't fix it. You can't change it. The problem with the past is that it affects you now. It affects the present because you're bringing it in. And so you get depressed because you're thinking about something in the past that there's nothing you can do. I was coaching a person and he told me that he would go into depression for a month. And I'm like, dude, what do you think about? And he was telling me, this is kind of personal, I don't want to repeat it, but he was telling me the things. And I said, dude, those things are gone. They're not here. I said, you love that spot. You love to go get that shit and bring it back so you could look at it again and caress it. I said, leave it alone. It's in the past. It's done. There's nothing you can do. You can't fix anything. And then he kept going, but nothing. It's over. The past is over. Get over it. There's nothing you can do. So what I did is I closed my eyes and I thought about my entire life from, as far as I could remember. And when I ran across somebody that hurt me, I stopped and I mentioned their names and I said, so-and-so, dear Lord, from the bottom of my heart, I forgive so-and-so. And then I went on. It might sound silly, but every time I forgave somebody, I felt my light, my load a little lighter. And then after that exercise, I got off my bed, opened up my eyes, got off the bed, and I was like, oh, that was great, man. So I promised then that I was not going to bring back anything from the past. And, when you forgive something, it doesn't mean that you're going to love them or you're going to become their number one fan or whatever. It just means that you forgave them and you don't have to have a relationship with them. So that's the important thing. But most importantly is that you unblock that channel from God to you. You unblock that because you take all that hate, all that bad will that you have towards the ill will that you have towards somebody. You take all that stuff away. Now the channel is open for God to, send the graces down to you. So there's no more bottleneck because we are the bottleneck in terms of the relationship with God. And so now you're open for grace because you've forgiven somebody. So it's just amazing. I think that when I did that, I felt really accomplished, complete, relieved, and then I just moved on. So I was happy because I fixed myself, because I was carrying that big of a load. People with different temperaments react differently to different things. And again, my temperament is I'm a choleric or type A guy. And then I'm also kind of a sentimental guy, man. I'm that way. I mean, I'm sensitive. Even if I'm giving it all, I expect all, which is wrong from my part. But that's how I am. That's caused me a lot of hurt. And so I realized that I need to if I really love somebody, I'm going to give it my all. If they don't love me back, then they could give me their 70% and I'll take their 70% or 50% or whatever that is. So, we need to focus on ourselves. So again, once you do the exercise, you forgive and forget, basically, then you move on to the next thing, which could be look at your relationships. So you might have a bunch of friends that you hang out with, and they might be the cause for you to do stupid stuff. I used to hang around with a group of guys that every time we went out, there was a fight. We went to the bar every freaking time. And I realized that I needed to get off of that. And they would get into fights because, we would all get into it. And so, they went into a place and they were a little cocky and thinking, hey, we got some good backup. And so they would do that. And it was just a very toxic relationship. So I stopped that. I stopped hanging around with a lot of friends and some folks from our family. I know it's kind of a no-no in our culture. I mean, family is family and all that stuff, but boy, some of our relationships were pretty bad, and they were family. That's one of the reasons why I am in Kansas. I knew that in order for me to fix my life, I had to walk away. You have to look at the relationship and say, okay, these are the ones that I want to keep. These are the relationships that elevate me. These are the relationships that understand me, and keep those. And the ones that don't make you a better person, they need to go. Remember, you're focusing on yourself. You're trying to fix yourself. And so you need to be very objective in these issues. Relationships are like one of the most important things. If you're in a toxic relationship, if that person is a keeper, have the conversation. Hey, I think that our relationship is not working out, but I want to fix it. Can we start from zero? Don't ever bring anything from the past, ever, ever, ever. If you guys had any issues or whatever, promise yourselves that you will never bring the past again so you could move forward. Now, if they're not a keeper relationship, then you get rid of them. Move on. It's as simple as that. But it's a tough decision, but it's your future. It's your happiness. I had many conversations with my wife where I had to reset and say, hey, let's reset this thing. Because I love my wife with my whole heart and soul. And I know that, sometimes you start growing apart or you start going the wrong direction. And as soon as you notice that, then you have to reset it. So that's what I do, So I think that the other thing that I would suggest you to do is this is a huge topic. I can't unpack this in 30 minutes. So I'm just trying to give you a big overall picture, and I hope that you do some research and look for the resources that you need to further expand on this. So I hope I'm not giving you. But don't think that I'm going to give you all the answers, because I can't. It's a podcast. It's 30 minutes or whatever. I want to plant that seed that tells you, hey, you need to do this, or you need to go this way, or you should be looking at this. One of the things that amazes me about successful business people, and I count myself in there because I didn't have core values, is that we have core values for our company, but we don't have core values for our family or for our personal lives. And the core values would be some of the non-negotiables. Like for instance, you could say, okay, I'm going to be a trustworthy person. I'm going to be truthful, and you keep those promises, and you're going to be you're going to have integrity in everything that you do. Those are your non-negotiables, and you're going to keep the promises you make to yourself. You're going to work out. That's a promise, and you don't go back on your promises. That's one of your core values. And look at that. Develop 2 or 3 to start off. And it could be, work on my relationship every single day and figure out what that means to you. To me is, I'll send my wife a little text, hey baby, I love you, or I miss you, or, something funny or whatever. And that's how I sort of during the day take care of my relationship, because that's a non-negotiable. My wife is like my everything, and I need to give her the due respect and also attention. So you need to come up with a list of non-negotiables. Don't make anything crazy. Start with 1 or 2, and then start developing the habit of complying with those. And once they get into a habit, then start expanding. As long as you get better, like what they say, you grow every day 1%. At the end of the year, it's 365%, right? So these are good things to think about. And I think that we need to really, again, focus on yourself and really look at your relationships and look at your past and let go of the past and let go of those bad relationships. And if they're worth keeping, then keep them. but work on it. Have that conversation. All right, my friends. So this is pretty much what I had today. I like this format, the questions. And again, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I'm just giving you, hopefully you'll get a golden nugget out of this whole thing, and then it's going to help you change the course of your life. And again, if you change the course of your life just by 1 degree, you'll end up making a huge change. So my friends, please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is MAGPatriot. You could DM me there, or Facebook at Miguel Godfather, or you can email me your questions at miguel@godfatherchronicles.com. Hope you found some value, and if you did, please share the podcast, give me a rating for sure, and stay tuned till the next one. Take care. God bless. Bye.